The Montana winds howled like tormented spirits through the snow-laden forest as Michael Thompson desperately clutched his 12-year-old daughter Luna's small hand. They hurried onward, their breath misting in the frigid air, a desperate race against the impending blizzard. Their 3 loyal shepherd dogs bounded ahead, valiant guides through the deepening snowdrifts. Suddenly, the lead dog skidded to a halt, its ears twitching, its nose fixed intently on a fallen log. Without a single bark, it surged forward, the other 2 dogs following with unwavering loyalty. "Papa, look!" Luna cried out, her voice laced with fear and concern, pointing to where the dogs were now huddled. Michael's heart pounded in his chest like a trapped bird as he approached. There, beneath the watchful gaze of his largest dog, lay a tiny bobcat kitten, its small body nearly still, its delicate fur matted with crimson. The kitten's breath came in shallow, ragged gasps, its cloudy blue eyes blinking weakly in pain. Michael knelt in the biting cold, his gloved hands trembling as he carefully removed them, placing a warm palm on the fragile creature. His biologist's mind raced as he scanned the surroundings. A disturbing trail of blood led into the shadowy depths of the forest, a silent testament to a brutal act. Beneath a nearby drift, the glint of metal betrayed the presence of an illegal trap. Michael knew the cardinal rule: interfere with wildlife at your own peril. Yet with the storm closing in and temperatures plummeting below, freezing, this tiny life had no chance. Then, an astonishing sight unfolded. The 3 powerful dogs, who would normally view such a creature as prey, displayed no aggression. Instead, the lead dog gently nudged the kitten with its nose, then began to lick its small head, a gesture of profound protection rarely seen between predator and potential victim. Back at their cozy log cabin, Rebecca, Michael's wife and a seasoned veterinarian, initially expressed her concern at the sight of the wild animal. But her professional instincts quickly took over. She examined the bobcat kitten, severely hypothermic and alarmingly malnourished. After painstakingly stabilizing its fragile condition, she nestled it in a box lined with soft blankets in their warm kitchen, her heart heavy with the certainty that it wouldn't survive the long, bitter night. But the next morning dawned with an unbelievable miracle. The kitten hadn't just survived. It was surrounded by the 3 devoted shepherd dogs, forming a living, breathing circle of warmth and protection. The lead dog lay closest, its large body a shield against the lingering cold. Luna, her eyes wide with wonder, named the tiny survivor Scout, for it would need all its instincts to learn to navigate the wild. The snowstorm raged, becoming one of the most ferocious in Montana's memory. Roads became impassable and communication with the Wildlife Conservation Department was severed. During this isolated time, Scout not only clung to life, but began to thrive under the unwavering care of the Thompson family and its canine guardians. And then the extraordinary began to unfold. After a mere 2 weeks, Scout started exhibiting behaviors that defied nature. This was no ordinary kitten. Its movements mirrored the confident, powerful gait of the shepherd dogs. When the lead dog sat its gaze fixed intently on the room, Scout would sit beside it, a perfect imitation of its posture. Michael, the scientist, meticulously documented these astonishing adaptations. Each day, Scout absorbed more canine traits. It would come when called a feat unheard of in wild cats. It engaged in playful chases with the youngest dog, learned to tug at toys, and even attempted to bark, producing a bizarre sound somewhere between a growl and a hiss. 4 months passed, and Scout blossomed into a healthy young bobcat, its wild beauty now intertwined with a bewildering array of dog-like behaviors. It awoke with the 3 dogs, shared their meals, and even learned to patrol the farm boundaries, shadowing the lead dog's every move. At night, Scout curled up amongst its canine companions, a living testament to an unlikely bond. Scout seamlessly blended its innate bobcat instincts. its extraordinary climbing prowess, acute hearing, and lightning-fast reflexes, with the learned behavior and unwavering loyalty of a shepherd dog. Luna, captivated by this incredible transformation, began sharing videos of Scout on social media. The bobcat, who believed it was a dog, became an instant local sensation. People flocked to the farm, drawn by the whispers of this strange and wonderful creature. When the roads finally cleared, Ranger Martinez arrived, responding to the reports of an illegally kept bobcat. He was astounded to see Scout respond to its name-tail wagging, behaving with the unmistakable demeanor of a beloved pet. But the law was unyielding. Keeping wildlife without a permit is illegal in Montana. He reminded them, his voice tinged with regret. Michael immediately applied for a special wildlife keeping permit. While they waited, Scout continued its remarkable development alongside its canine brothers. The bobcat grew its spotted markings, becoming more distinct, its build stronger yet. Its behavior remained a captivating fusion of two distinct species. 2 agonizing months later, the answer arrived. The application was denied. The Wildlife Conservation Department demanded that Scout be surrendered for reintroduction into the wild. Luna, her heart shattered, posted an impassioned video online, her raw emotion resonating with millions, igniting national attention. Under immense public pressure, the Conservation Department relented, agreeing to send a team of experts to evaluate Scout's unique case before rendering a final decision. The department director, a renowned zoologist, and Ranger Martinez spent a day observing Scout, meticulously documenting its every movement, its interactions with the dogs and humans, its responses to commands. They were awestruck by the bobcat's unprecedented level of adaptation. "This is a special case." The director conceded, her voice filled with wonder. "But the law has no exceptions. The bobcat is a wild animal. It belongs in its natural environment." The zoologists concurred, acknowledging that Scout was likely too domesticated to thrive in the unforgiving wilderness. Instead of condemning it to a lifetime in a facility, they proposed a compromise. Scout would be released into a wilderness area approximately 100 miles from the farm, fitted with a GPS collar for tracking. If it could adapt to its natural environment, it would be free. If not, they would consider other options. The day of separation arrived with agonizing speed. Luna wept uncontrollably as Rebecca lovingly prepared a special bag of food enough for 2 weeks, though she knew Scout needed to learn to hunt. Michael's hands trembled as he attached the GPS collar, stroking the bobcat's thick fur one last time. But the most heart-wrenching reaction came from the 3 loyal dogs. As Scout was placed in the transport cage, they whined and barked incessantly, their bodies pressed against the bars, desperate to prevent the rangers from taking their beloved companion. The lead dog stood firm, a furry barricade before the car door, moving only when Michael issued a heartbroken command. At the release site, a lush valley bordering a clear, rushing stream, they opened the cage door. Scout stepped out cautiously, its nose twitching as it tested the unfamiliar air. It gazed into the dense forest, then turned back its wild yellow eyes, meeting Michael and Luna's tear-filled ones. For a fleeting moment, it seemed it wouldn't leave. Then a rustling sound in the nearby bushes caught its attention. Wild instinct surged, overriding all else. With the speed and grace of a true predator, Scout dashed toward the sound and vanished into the emerald depths of the forest. Luna sobbed, burying her face in her parents' arms. On the long drive home, the GPS tracking screen flickered, showing Scout moving steadily deeper into the wilderness. "It will be fine," Michael whispered desperately, trying to convince himself. "This is where it belongs." But when they returned to the farm, the 3 dogs refused to enter the house. They sat on the porch, their eyes fixed on the distant hills where Scout had disappeared their silent vigil, a testament to their profound loss. A week crawled by. Luna checked the GPS data, obsessively tracking Scout's every hesitant movement. Initially, the Bobcat seemed to be adapting, moving cautiously through the unfamiliar territory, seeking shelter and water. But back at the farm, a heavy silence had fallen. The three dogs sank into a deep depression. They refused their food, showed no interest in play, and spent hours on the highest hill, their gaze fixed on the horizon where Scout had vanished. Then, on the 10th night, the GPS data displayed a bewildering change. Scout had stopped at a high point on a hillside and remained there virtually motionless for nearly 24 hours. Michael's heart clenched with worry. Was it injured, sick? But then as the sun began to dip below the horizon, the following day, Scout began to move again. And its direction was unmistakable homeward. Day by day, Scout's movement pattern became clearer. This was no random wandering. It was a determined journey with a singular purpose. Initially slow and punctuated by stops to hunt or rest, each movement was resolutely in the direction of the farm. Michael, poring over the data with Rebecca, calculated the distance 30 miles in the first 5 days. A pace far exceeding the average for a wild bobcat navigating new territory. This can't just be coincidence, he murmured, his voice filled with a mixture of disbelief and burgeoning hope. It's finding its way home. The GPS revealed the arduous journey Scout faced. On the 6th day, it reached a wide river swollen and treacherous with spring runoff. A typical bobcat would avoid deep water at all costs. But Scout, having learned from dogs who knew no fear of water, found a narrow point and plunged in, swimming across with surprising strength. On day 7, a busy highway lay in its path. The GPS showed it waiting hidden in the underbrush near the roadside for nearly 3 agonizing hours. Then, in a fleeting gap between roaring traffic, it darted across in a flash. Each obstacle Scout overcame. Rivers, highways, human settlements, even the territorial boundaries of other bobcats, astonished the Thompson family. The very Bible of bobcat behavior dictated that they did not undertake such long directional migrations. Then, on the 12th night, their worst fears materialized. The GPS signal vanished completely. The last recorded position was an area of jagged rocks and dense trees a mere 40 miles from the farm. Michael and Luna raced to the location, their hearts pounding with dread. They searched for an entire day, calling Scout's name, their voices hoarse, checking every crevice, every thicket. There was no sign of the bobcat, only a broken piece of the GPS collar strap snagged on a low branch. Michael imagined the struggle Scout caught, desperate to free itself, damaging the collar in the process. But would it continue its journey? Was it injured or worse? The next 3 days were an agonizing eternity of waiting and fragile hope. Luna, consumed by worry, barely left her room. Rebecca frantically contacted every ranger station and veterinary hospital within a 100-mile radius. Michael, his brow furrowed in concentration, studied maps, desperately trying to predict Scout's possible route. If it maintained its speed and direction before the signal was lost, he analyzed, his voice tight with anxiety. It could reach the farm within 2 to 3 more days, assuming it wasn't injured. Its fur offered protection from the cold, but it needs food and water. And it has to evade larger predators, wolves, bears, even humans. The stark truth was that Scout's chances of survival dwindled with each passing hour. Then, on the 3rd night since the signal was lost, as the family sat in heavy silence, attempting a meager dinner, the 3 dogs suddenly sprang to their feet, as if jolted by an electric current. The lead dog bolted to the door, barking with frantic urgency, the other two following their tails, wagging with an unbelievable excitement. Michael, his heart leaping into his throat, flung open the door. Standing at the edge of the yard, bathed in the soft glow of the moonlight, was a small, slender figure. Scout. Dirty thinner and without its GPS collar, but undeniably alive. And it was looking straight at the house. Later, piecing together Scout's incredible journey, based on the fragmented GPS data and distance calculations, Michael estimated that the Bobcat had traversed at least 100 miles of varied and treacherous terrain. 2 major rivers, a busy highway, a human settlement, and several hostile territories of other bobcats. All within approximately 16 days, just as it was reaching full maturity. Experts later offered various scientific explanations, from geomagnetic positioning abilities to an exceptionally developed terrain memory and unusual migratory instincts. But for the Thompson family, the only explanation that truly mattered was love. Scout hadn't returned to a place. It had returned to its family. The instant Scout saw the 3 dogs, its entire demeanor transformed. It surged forward no longer with the cautious movements of a wild bobcat, but with the joyous, unrestrained sprint of a dog reuniting with its pack. The 3 dogs bounded to meet it, and the 4 animals collided in a rolling, joyful tangle of happy sounds and wet fur. Luna sobbed, running out and kneeling beside them, her arms wrapping around the unlikely family. Michael and Rebecca followed, tears streaming down their faces, unable to fully comprehend the miracle unfolding before them. Scout, the wild bobcat, had found its way back across 100 miles of unfamiliar wilderness, following an invisible thread of love to the only home it had ever known. They brought Scout inside, where Rebecca immediately examined it. The bobcat had lost weight and bore a small wound on its front leg, likely from where the collar had snagged, a testament to its desperate struggle to break free. But otherwise, it was remarkably healthy after its arduous journey. Michael called Ranger Martinez, who arrived first thing the next morning, his jaw dropping in disbelief at the sight before him. "This doesn't happen," he muttered, watching Scout curled up contentedly among the 3 dogs as if it had never left. Bobcats don't do this. They don't travel such distances just to return to a specific place. And they certainly don't seek out the company of other species like this. Luna knelt beside Scout, gently stroking its soft fur. "It doesn't think it's a bobcat," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "It thinks it's part of this family." Martinez looked at Michael and Rebecca, his expression troubled. "I need to report this. You know they'll want to take it away again, probably even farther this time." But as his gaze softened, locking with Scout's wild yellow eyes that held an undeniable depth of attachment, he sighed. "I'll propose another option. No promises, but there's never been a case like this before." 2 weeks later, the director of the Wildlife Conservation Department personally returned to the Thompson farm. She spent hours observing Scout in its unique environment, chasing playfully with the youngest dog, patrolling the boundaries with the lead dog, and sleeping curled up beside all 3. What we are seeing here challenges everything we understand about animal behavior. She admitted, her voice filled with a mixture of scientific curiosity and genuine wonder. Scout is no longer an ordinary bobcat, but it's not a pet either. The final decision arrived a month later. A special, unprecedented type of permit would be issued to the Thompson family. Scout was allowed to stay, provided it would be part of a long-term study on animal behavior and interspecies social bonding. The family agreed immediately, their hearts overflowing with relief. Luna jumped for joy. A year later, the Thompson farm had become a small, unassuming attraction where groups of students and researchers could observe Scout and its remarkable dog brothers. Michael had published a groundbreaking scientific paper on this unique case. Luna, now 14, had set her sights on becoming a zoologist, and Scout, the bobcat who defied all expectations, had fully matured, possessing all the wild beauty and power of its species. Yet, as it sat on a high rock in its spacious enclosure, its posture mirroring the vigilant watchfulness of the lead dog, no one could deny that it had found exactly where it belonged. Scout's extraordinary journey from a near-death experience as a tiny kitten to a unique creature living between two worlds had proven a simple but profound truth. Sometimes love and attachment can be stronger than even the most deeply ingrained natural instincts. And family, in its truest and most profound sense, is not defined by where you are born, but by where you are loved and where you truly belong. A valuable lesson. The incredible story of Scout reminds us that love, compassion, and the bonds of family can transcend the boundaries of species and challenge our preconceived notions of the natural world. It teaches us to be open to the unexpected and to recognize the profound connections that can exist between seemingly disparate creatures. What are your thoughts on Scout's incredible journey? Have you ever witnessed an unexpected bond between animals? Share your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories of the animal kingdom. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story?